afternoon and welcome to Consumer Thursdays. My name is George Robnett and I will be your host today. And we honored to have with us today the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County, Mrs. Linda Huntspon. Linda comes with us with a tremendous amount of experience in government, social services, as well as in the private or nonprofit sector of our community. We're pleased to have Linda with us today. The Community Action Agency, as many of you may know, has been around since 1964. It was the War on Poverty, signed off by Lyndon B. Johnson in 1964 in an effort to help level the playing field for those less fortunate. So we continue to work with Linda, and we hope that this relationship will continue and we can provide you with some detailed information as to the program and services that are provided by the Community Action of St. Louis County, and that will help you in your endeavors to level the playing field when you find yourself in time of need. In addition to that, you know, the Community Action Agency is a nationwide organization serving over 11 million people on an annual basis in total. And thank goodness for the Community Action of St. Louis County, which provides and services and programs that impact the lives and quality of life for over 40,000 people on an annual basis.
Right,
That's
absolutely
remarkable.
Right, that is, and thank you.
That is remarkable to think that you impact and improve the quality of life for over 40,000 people, residents of St. Louis County on an annual basis.
Yes.
With that, I'd like to introduce Ms. Linda Huntspon, CEO of Community Action Agency of St. Louis County.
Well, thank you, and I'd like to thank you for having me today. It is absolutely a pleasure to be welcomed on your podcast, and I'd like to thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of the entire community, not just those people that are in St. Louis County, but you take care of our entire region with your work, so thank you very much.
Thank you. We're very grateful. Tell us a little bit about the mission of the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County. The mission, its goals, its purpose. You know, I know it's been around for a number of years, but it's a program and our organization which, like I say again, impacts the lives of so many people in so many very different ways.
Well, you mentioned the key term. It's been around since its inception to fight the war on poverty. And we talk about never-ending wars. That is truly a war that seems to never end in this country. There are always people that are in need of services in some sort, either because their community is under-resourced or simply because they don't know how to access the resources that are available to them. So we're in the unique position at CAASTL to be able to reach those families that may not reach other entities or maybe not ever encounter other support services. They're able to come to CAASTL, and you may come for one of our emergency services, but along the way we can talk about whatever is driving you or what's led to that crisis, and then through that be able to move their family forward. So our purpose is to meet you where you are and then to help you achieve the highest level of self-sufficiency possible for your family. It's very individualized.
That's great. I mean, that's a great thing. When you said families meet their self-sufficiency, so many families, you know, the ability for a family to be intact, the ability for a family to basically live in a safe, comfortable environment is so critical, especially with children involved, their learning environment, etc. And I know, and maybe you can talk a little bit about it, about some of the things that CAASTL does to help families remain intact and to help children live in that clean, safe environment.
Well, we provide over 25 services at CAASTL, and they range from, because you can't live in your unit if you don't have utilities. So
Right.
CAASTL provides gas, and it provides electricity, and we have a partnership with MSD. They're co-located in our building now. So there's that partnership.
Wait a minute, stop.
Yes.
Did you say you have a partnership with MSD?
We do.
That is fantastic.
Yes, they are co-located in CAASTL, so that if you come in for LIHEAP, which is the Low Income Housing Energy
Yes.
Assistance Program, and that is also something that you need, we're able to make that warm handoff to MSD so that they can immediately help you.
Wow.
Yeah, so back to your question about people think that it's utilities, but it's more than that. I am just old enough to remember when people were dying, and it was on the nightly news, people that passed away because either their house wasn't properly heated or because they were using inadequate space heaters or using the stove to heat the home, and as a result, families were lost to carbon monoxide, or they were just perishing because there was hypothermia, it was too cold. And the converse also happened in the summertime. People were so hot in their homes, and fans weren't just adequate because it's a different sun than it was once before. No, not. But, it was just hot, and people were dying, and they were choosing between paying my electric bill and providing for my family in those other ways. So we have air conditioning, and we have weatherization. And one of the key things about weatherization and safe housing is that not only are we able to provide them with insulation and up-to-date modern appliances so that they're able to keep those homes, but that is both creating generational wealth, because once upon a time there was a big mama's house. So if you fell on hard times, you could go back home until you figured it out and got back together. But that doesn't exist anymore.
That was so true.
With the weatherization program, we're able to help people stay in those family homes so that you can pass that on from children to children. Or, if people have a hard time, you can go back home until you can get back on your feet and figure it out. And we've also able people to have lower income and utility bills with that. And the other thing, through some other community partners, sometimes we get in there to do the weatherization to the home, and you find out they can benefit from maybe there's an infestation. Again, that's going back to safe and decent housing. You don't have to have bugs or mice or rodents co-living with you. So we're able to remedy that as well.
You make a very important point
Yes.
for people who are renters, because in order to maintain your rental status,
Yes.
particularly if you're living in any type of subsidized housing,
You're
you
correct.
must maintain your utilities.
Yes.
And I know sometimes for young single mothers or fathers it's difficult, and so there's a resource out there that's you're telling me that is available to help them.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, we've gone a step further. We have a signed agreement with the county housing authority.
Yes.
So that if you run into a person that they're in danger of losing their housing due to lack of utility assistance, they're able to refer them to CAASTL.
Right.
And if we're not able to assist them, then we will connect them with another community partner to provide them with assistance.
Exactly.
So that no one has to lose their housing over utilities, because that is horrible.
Let me ask another question, and this is LIHEAP, Low Income Housing Energy Assistance Program.
Yes.
For years, it's always, you might not know the answer, but maybe you can give us some insight that funding has been threatened at the federal level.
Yes.
Fortunately, each year, at least from my experience, it was threatened at the last, or the 11th hour, the program was always funded.
Yes.
Always funded.
Yes.
Do you see any jeopardy of that program being not funded or funded at the levels it currently is in the years to come?
Well, fortunately, we have been funded, and I hope that it will remain funded, because what I hope that by opportunities like today and whenever I get a chance in the community, I tell people it's more than just the Housing Energy Assistance Program. Right. It is literally sometimes life and death. And it's also the draw with which people enter into our doors, and then we're able to see what led you to this crisis, and can we help you with employment? Is there some other underlying situation that's allowing you to, stay in this crisis or making this reoccurring? Because maybe we can help you get past that. So it's more than just one time in this emergency situation, then folks are done. It's often the conversation starter for us to get to address larger family needs, whether they're justice involved, whether there's some mental health challenges that they're facing. There are many things that lead families to crisis. And sometimes you can do absolutely everything right, and then there's that carb repair that comes up all of a sudden, and we're barely making it, but then I can't go to work if I don't have my car. The kids can't go to school. And so there is more than just utility assistance when you think about LIHEAP. It often is the difference between somebody being able to maintain and not. And so I feel like it's my job, and I am grateful for people like you that are able to go out and both advocate and educate people to what that really means. It's not just something that somebody's sitting at home and they're running up a bill and then somebody pays it. No, these are people that you can do everything right and still need some help.
Absolutely. That is without question. I mean, you can do everything right. I can tell you from my own personal experience, you can do everything you think is right and still find yourself in situations you say, well, how did I get here?
Yes, you can. You can lose a job. You can be sick. You know, it can happen to anybody. And you know, so and with the gig economy, we have a whole generation of people. They're betting on themselves.
Yeah.
But again, if that car breaks down, or if there's a kid that's sick, or even the family support that once existed, I'm a grandma, but grandma goes to work. So if there's a sick child, my daughter needs to stay at home and take care of her child, or her husband has to. So there are many dynamics that make families.
So what you really, from my experience, and what you're really saying is there is a case management type of style
Yes.
that you work with individuals who come into the offices of Community Action Agency of St. Louis County.
Yes.
So you basically have an opportunity at that time to assess the family or individual, determine what their needs may be. Some may want to disclose, some may not want to disclose.
Yes.
But if there's other areas where you can assist them, whether it's energy assistance, whether it's weatherization, whether it's a food pantry, or whatever it may be, a reentry program, maybe a family member in the family has been incarcerated and they might need some assistance, whatever it may be.
That's right.
Then you are able to say, well, look, this is what we have available that could possibly be a benefit to you.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
And there's a program that you have, which is well known, and several people have always told me about it, and it deals with poverty. It's a poverty simulation.
Yes.
Are you still doing that program?
We absolutely have poverty simulations, and poverty simulations they're a great tool to educate people, because often, again, it goes back to that education piece. Whenever we think of poverty, people always think you made a lot of bad choices. Sometimes poverty is just the situation in which you were born, and you just need to be exposed to different choices. And so it allows people to have empathy, because they often say, well, why don't they budget, or why don't you save? Well, easier said when there is enough at the end to save. But, you know, you teach people and educate them on, what if that doesn't exist in my neighborhood? What if there is no grocery store?
I got a granddaughter you need to talk to. I just had this conversation with her the other day.
Okay. We have reality simulations too. That's for young people that are choosing whether or not they want to continue their education, because we know that that's the other pillar to success is education and employment. And so if she needs to have a reality simulation, we've got those too.
Okay. She probably does, but not for me, because my reality is a little bit tougher.
Sometimes when we've done a good job of having providing for our family, they don't have that same connection that we once had, or they don't know about the struggle because we've made it easier for them.
Right. So you mentioned the Community Action Agency St. Louis County, or CAASTL, as it is known, has over 25 programs available for residents of St. Louis County. And I know from experience, I mean, you're talking about from Lee May to Spanish Lake. So it's a large territory that which you cover. Yes. And I think in that coverage area, which is difficult, it's almost 92 or 94 different municipalities.
Of course.
Yeah, right. So
that just means that's opportunity. And guess what we've done in order to address that?
What's that?
Without the expense of adding on or taking on additional brick and mortar buildings, we've partnered with the libraries. They've kind of repurposed and rebranded themselves to be more integrated into the community.
Yes.
And so we have partnerships with libraries to go to those libraries located in the zip codes with the highest needs. And so we have an employee that goes there several times a week.
Okay.
But then as we see the needs shift, then we're just able to use our resources and those partnerships to say, hey, we'd like to add on a different library, or we'll go here instead of going here, just so that you keep up with the shifting needs of the population, but cover that St. Louis County.
Because the demographics change from neighborhood to neighborhood.
That's right.
And sometimes even within a given neighborhood.
Yes.
You can see the demographics and the wealth of individuals be dramatically different.
Yes.
From almost in some areas block to block.
You can.
It's kind of amazing when you see that.
It is.
Well, that's fantastic. The weatherization program still running and beneficial to residents of St. Louis County?
It is,
Okay.
both to seniors, disabled families, and that's
Right.
the other thing. I think sometimes people have no idea what the face of poverty looks like
Right.
or who actually comes through our doors. It's not everybody that they would think.
Oh.
There's sometimes seniors, again, they've done everything right, raised their family, still trying to maintain this house, but we can use the benefit of a food pantry, or we can use a little help this month because maybe my medicine changed, or, just needs come up.
That's mentioned because I had a conversation recently with Ameren. I talked with people from Ameren, particularly Paige Shelby, who was a consumer advocate for Ameren. And she was, on matter of fact, a recent segment
Okay.
that we did. And she talked about their commitment to the weatherization program and how they were going to continue with that commitment and even hopefully be able to expand their commitment to the weatherization program because they found it to be such a great program and beneficial to so many residents. And what's really unique about their program that she told me was that they can provide financial assistance to make repairs outside of what the Department of Energy may allow or restrict.
That's the other partnership that I was referencing. They've helped us. It's called readiness funding sometimes,
Yes.
and it allows us to make those other repairs that might otherwise prevent you or create a hindrance to creating the weatherization. Let me tell you another story about Ameren and about their partnership with Castle. We have a forum in Spanish Lake that kind of
Yes.
addresses food insecurity, seeds of hope. Ameren, when we talked to them about some of the trees that needed to come down,
Yes.
they partnered with some of their tree trimmers to make that a training site
Really?
so that we didn't have to incur the cost of having those trees removed that needed to be removed.
Fantastic.
And Ameren took care of that for that. That's one of
I mean-
the great things that they do. Didn't create a lot of fanfare. It was just something that they did to help us.
I remember when I talked to Connie Taylor and
Yes.
to let them know how
Yes.
appreciative
Yes, it was great.
that was. Fantastic. Fantastic. So what's the future look like? What's the future look like for Castle? I mean, I know you're expanding. I see, and when you talk about working with the libraries, and I mean that's a tremendous accomplishment, is to be able to go into the libraries and provide outreach services right there in the local libraries, and those particularly in those areas which are most in need. So what do you see that? Do you see that effort continuing and expanding? And I mean that's just a great resource because not everybody has transportation.
That's right.
You'd be surprised at how many people lack the necessary transportation or ability to get from one place to another. At least that's something I've learned. I mean, I always take it for granted, but it's true.
No, that is true, and that's one of the benefits. Usually there's a library within walking distance to most people, and
Right.
it doesn't create the barrier that having to try to get transportation to or find daycare or childcare or time off from work even to come to Castle. So yes, the library partnership is a great partnership. The next thing that I'd like for us to place more emphasis on is our employment services. We provide employment services. However, I think we don't highlight it enough. So that is something that I am really working to expand our partnerships with both the county and other community leaders, even workforce development. Because we recently hosted a job fair for Lambert, St. Louis at Castle.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay, I didn't
78
know that.
people showed up.
Oh,
and so
fantastic.
what's important for us is to not just help people get a job, because everybody talks about helping people get employed, but we're helping get careers
Right.
or at least jobs that pay a living wage with benefits so that you can sustain your family without having to work multiple jobs. So those are the things that I'd like for us to, we do that already, but we're going to emphasize it even more and put the word out so that we can draw more partners to the table. We draw employment partners that are justice involved friendly, which means that once you've paid your debt to society, we're about second chances, if nothing else. So we need employers to meet us there and again, have a living wage that you're offering so that people are less likely to recidivate if they have access to gainful employment, because we want the same thing, stable communities and the ability to take care of our families.
Well, that's important. That's important.
It is.
Is that
So
right?
that for me is what I'm hoping
Focus,
for us
okay.
to be able to really put a lot of emphasis on that and financial education, because I think it's very easy for people to have those conversations when there is plenty. I'll give you an example, 401ks. People always tell folks that you're leaving money on the table with a 401k. Well, what does that mean? If we didn't have those kitchen table discussions around finances at our house,
Right.
that's foreign to me, and I'm just going to not leave this paycheck on the table. I'm taking that.
Right.
But they don't realize that there are opportunities that if you start saving when you're young, even if it's just $5, $2, anything, thing, a savings is helpful. So those are some of the conversations that we used to have them more frequently, but I want to get back to them and then make them in more plain English so that they're understandable. Sometimes people think I don't have enough money, so what are you talking about a budget? Let's just talk about it.
Financial literacy
It's important.
is extremely important.
It is.
And I can attest to that, being a grandfather, that I am constantly talking to my grandchildren about save $10 a week. Put away $10 a week. And I show them a little chart that say, wow, if you put away $10 a week, for the next 30 years, you have about $200,000. It was just $10 a week.
And that's just not doing nothing with it. But we've been talking to some of our banking partners. Remember the old Christmas club, where if you put something in savings,
I am that old.
Then somebody would match it. Well, we've been talking about that as like an incentive, so that we spend a lot of time around home ownership with people getting into their house, but then they have the highest rates of foreclosure.
Okay, now, this is Money Smart Month. Okay. See, this is Money Smart Month. So we talking language that I'm somewhat familiar with.
Yeah.
And this happens to be Money Smart Week, April 15th through 21st.
See?
So, and
right
then,
after taxes, we want to talk about being money smart, right? What a coincidence.
So what a coincidence, right? So even though all the car dealers are trying to tell you, bring that
yes, come get your income tax call.
Come bring that check you just got returned and come get this new car.
Yes.
But but there's better alternatives.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So this is Money Smart Week, and one thing we've been trying to work with some of the financial institutions ourselves is to promote Money Smart Week and Money Smart Month because it is just critical. As you say, young people start saving $5 a week, $10 a week, $20 a month, or whatever it may be. They would be amazed at how much they can accumulate over a period of time.
And we're asking our banking partners to match that so that it'll grow faster.
Can I get joined?
Yeah,
No, I'm just teasing.
We'll work it out. But so those are the two things that have been really pressed, and the team and I have been working on. What does that look like, and how can we help make that a reality in terms of the savings? Because I was having a conversation with the banking partner. She said we spend a lot of time getting people credit ready, and so they make these home purchases, and then the first major expense that comes up kind of makes them fall behind, and then it's difficult to if they ever catch up. So I said, well, why don't we work on like this old Christmas club model so that at the end they have saved, and maybe after a year, so that it doesn't take forever, but at least they've established a savings, gotten used to it, so that when something major happens, or like most people, you get a new house, you want some new furniture, right? So you can make some of those purchases without it totally, blowing your budget and you not being able to keep this nice home.
Yeah, true.
I know.
That's true. That's probably why I've been single for 25 to 30 years, right?
So
let me ask another question. No. Let me ask
Yes.
it's my understanding Community Action Agency, what should I say, State of Missouri, is going to have an annual conference soon.
They are.
And it's going to be here in St. Louis?
It's going to be,
Kansas City?
The national conference will be in St. Louis.
Oh, wow. The national conference will be here in August.
The National Community Action Partnership
Okay.
will be meeting here in St. Louis in August.
Okay.
And so we will certainly make sure that we give you that information
Yeah, please
when the agenda
do.
comes out, so that you can share with all of your viewers.
Yeah, well, we're not on viewers, but we have a mailing list, and we're out in the community
We'll be
constantly.
speaking into existence that you're going to have a lot of viewers.
Yeah, so myself and Mr. Antonio Weston, who is not only the producer of this podcast or segment, I refer to him as segment, I don't really call him podcast.
Okay.
Is also a community engagement coordinator. So he's out in the community as well. And right now, not related to St. Louis County, he's really focused on this water issue with St. Louis City, because the water, you probably read that water rates are going to go up over the next 3 years for residents of St. Louis City. So it's going to be an impact with him, because my area of focus is on energy and, of course, data centers and insurance. So have fun, you know. Yeah,
Yeah,
doing
no,
what I do.
that's important.
Well, let me ask you this, Ms. Huntspon. Well, first, let me say this. This has been very informative.
Thank you.
And on behalf of the Consumer Council of Missouri, we are very grateful that you took the time from your busy schedule to come and participate today. We hope that this information, a lot of our viewers, and we can share with a lot of people, because we share our podcast, our segments with a lot of nonprofits to share with their audiences when they're having meetings and when they're having gatherings, etc. And this is one that is important enough, because as I go around the community, and I've spent a lot of time in the last 6 months in Ferguson and Delwood, Rock Hill, Brentwood, Lee May, etc., sharing with people about the services and programs available throughout the county, as well as what we here at Consumer Council try to do in working with the utility companies, and are ensuring that there is some set aside for those that are in need of assistance through whether it be electric or any energy service that provided. That's why I was so surprised. And I think you even got the attention of Mr. Watson when you mentioned the relationship or partnership with MSD. But that's a great thing, because I personally am still trying to figure out how MSD bills.
Well, stop by. They're in the
I'm gonna
office
stop
Monday
by
through Friday, 8
and
to
ask
5,
them.
and
Yeah,
there's
right.
a representative there that can talk about your MSD bill with
I'm
you.
in meetings with them, so yeah, so it goes on. With that being said, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. You mentioned other nonprofits. There are 1,000 nonprofits doing great work in St. Louis,
Yes.
in our region, and
Yes.
so that you would find Castle worthy of a slot on your well-viewed segments.
Oh, thank you.
It's truly an honor, so
Thank
I want to thank you.
Thank you. Our viewership is increasing, and we hope to get this. Like I said, we share this information with a lot. I personally share this information with a lot of nonprofits, a lot of community leaders, in an effort that they hopefully will share this information with their constituents and others throughout the community to let them know what's available to them on the services and programs that can be helpful and beneficial. And in building one, improving quality of life, and one second, hopefully building generational wealth. I think those are just some of my personal things, along with financial literacy, that are so significantly missing within many of our communities. With that, I can only say thank you again.
Thank you.
And we are very appreciative of the opportunity, and again, you taking the opportunity and time from your busy schedule to participate in this segment of Consumer Thursdays.
Thank you.
Thank you.